Hello guys, welcome back to my channel and without any delays, let's get started with today's work. So today I would like to discuss about numbers in general actually. And before starting this video, I would like to tell all my vernacular viewers that I'll be doing this video in English. So if you are any of those people that only speak Hindi, Marathi, or any other vernacular language, please bear with my English content. So with that being said, let's get started now. So we have numbers. Now how do we categorize numbers? So one category is is called natural numbers, and for those of you who speak vernacular languages, that's नैसर्गिक संख्या. So these are numbers that I call useful numbers or used in day-to-day life, because these are all your countable numbers, stuff that you can, things that you can actually count on your fingers. So that includes 1, 2, 3, and all other numbers till infinity. And now notice that we don't include zero, and we don't include fractions, because you can't put fractions on your fingers, right? As I said, these are numbers that you can put on your fingers. Basically use your fingers to represent them. So that's your natural numbers. And one more category that we have is whole numbers, or otherwise known as Purna Sankhya. So these are all the numbers, these are basically all natural numbers, all of this thing, all natural numbers plus 0. So only thing that you're adding to these natural numbers that we had before is a 0. So that's basically 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that goes on till infinity. So notice that the only useful thing that we've added to our natural numbers is 0. So instead of starting our counting from 1, 2, 3, we started from 0, 1, 2, 3. So that's the only change to our natural numbers. When we talk about whole numbers, these are all natural numbers but with 0, and again we don't have fractions here, so fractions are still excluded over here. And another interesting concept or category of numbers is rational numbers, or you know them as Parimeya Sankhya. So your rational numbers are anything that can be written as a quotient of two things. So I mean to say P over Q. So it can be written in this form, P over Q, where Q cannot be 0 because you can't divide anything by 0. So P is any number, and Q is any number except 0. So anything that can be written in this form is a Parimeya Sankhya or rational numbers. So you can roughly say now that your rational numbers are your whole numbers plus your fractions too. And mind you, these rational numbers can be negative too. So that also includes integers, and we are coming to integers because that was the main purpose of this video, to talk about integers and what they mean. So anything that can be written as a fraction in this form is a rational number. And notice that every natural number, even say 1, can be written as a fraction of 1 over 1, and even 5 can be written as 5 over 1. So all natural and whole numbers are by definition rational numbers. So that's a useful thing to keep in mind. So that's basically your your fundamental and most trivial classification of numbers. It's actually now time to move on to our discussion on integers. So let me just erase everything now and let's move on to that discussion. So now let's talk about integers. You might know them as Purnanka. So integers are basically natural numbers, or you can say, wait, let's call them whole numbers. Whole numbers, because we also have 0, that's an integer. So these are whole numbers, and if you remember what whole numbers were, they were basically 0, 1, 2, 3 till infinity. These are basically whole numbers, and their negative counterparts, or their negative brothers, if I were to put it that way. So we have 0, 1, 2, 3, and we also have negative 1, negative 2, negative 3 till negative infinity. Here we were extending till infinity. So it's sort of a mirror image of these positive numbers, of these positive natural numbers that we have over here. So it's like if you placed a mirror on 0, so it's like the image of 1 is negative 1, the image of 2 is negative 2, the image of 3 is negative 3. So it's sort of like that. They're sort of, that's why I said brothers. So they're sort of mirror images of each other. And mind you that integers cannot be fractions. So you can't say that 3 divided by 2 is an integer. This is incorrect. This is incorrect. This is wrong. And by fractions I mean not fractions that can be reduced into a simple form. So for example, 4 by 2, you can reduce this, right, to get just 2, and 2 is an integer. So 4 over 2 is an integer, but because you can reduce it, but something that you can't reduce, say for example 10 divided by 7, you would just keep having recurring decimals, right? So if you were to say divide this, you would obtain 1.442 something. So this is a recurring decimal, right? So we can't have numbers of this form. We can have the fractions that can be reduced into a simple number, like in this case 2, but you can't have these crazy recurring decimal type of numbers. These are forbidden. So I guess the definition of an integer is pretty clear to you by now. It's actually now time to look at the number line and actually know for sure what's going on when we say a certain integer is where it's placed with respect to other integers. So I have drawn for you the number line, or you may know this as the Sankhya Resha. So I want you to show, say, integer positive 6 or just 6. You can just call it 6 on this number line, on this number line. So you start with, say you call this 0. 0 doesn't always have to be the center. In this case, since we have a limited length number line, it would be wise to start 0 from the slightly more leftward position. So let's call this 0, and we have a negative 1 here, we have a negative 2 here, and or many other numbers which we just have space to show these two. So that's it. And here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. So when I say positive 6 or just 6, when I want you to show that, it's over here with the dot that I have darkened. It's this number. So that's your positive 6. Now if someone wanted you to show negative 3 on this number line, then in that case we ended at negative 2. We would have to extend our number line slightly so that we have negative 3 after negative 2, and then we highlight this, and that's your negative 3. So I hope you got a general idea of how to represent integers. Representing integers is probably the easiest. Now let's try to represent fractions, not integers. Integers are too easy. Let's talk about representing fractions. So let me just clear this up now. So they want us to show, let's take what number should I take? 3 over 5 on this number line. So since this is positive, we're always going to be to the right of 0, because if it were negative we would have to show this to the left of 0, and 0 would have to be placed somewhere over here. So but it's not negative, so 3 over 5 is positive, so let's call this 0 for now. And look at the denominator. The denominator is 5, which means we need to make 5 parts, or you can say 5 gaps between two successive numbers. So by that I mean, so you have 0 and you have, say, 1. So 5 parts, as I said. So this is one part, this is 1 over 5, this is second part which is 2 over 5, third part which is 3 over 5, fourth part which is 4 over 5, and then the last part, the fifth part of 5 over 5, which is nothing but 1. So 1 equals 5 over 5. So that's why I've written 1. And 3 over 5 is just here, right? That's 3 over 5. And what if, just what if someone asked you to represent 11 over 5. So for that, this is 5 over 5, right? So if you make one more part here, this will be plus 1 on in the numerator. So 6 over 5, then 7 over 5, 8 over 5, 9 over 5, 10 over 5, which is nothing but 2 if you reduce, and then 11 over 5. So this is just one place ahead of 2. So that's your 11 over 5. That was for the denominator 5. What if we had weird denominators of say any number, say 11, 3? You can have any denominator, right? As long as it's not 0. So let me just show you one more example of a different denominator, and then we'll move to negative fractions. So what if we now have to show 13 over 7. So since this is positive, this is to the right of 0. So let's mark 0 something like this. So say our first part is 1 over 7. You have to make 7 parts because the denominator is 7. So first part is 1 over 7, then 2 over 7, second part, 3 over 7, 4 over 7, 5 over 7, 6 over 7, 7 over 7, which is nothing but regular 1. So I made 7 parts between 0 and 1. That's what I was talking about when I said make 7 parts. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 numbers between from 0 till 1. Then we still go on, right? So we ended at 7 over 7. So then 8 over 7 over here. 9 over 7. Again 7 parts between 1 and 2. 10 over 7. 11 over 7. 12 over 7. 13 over 7. 14 over 7. If you remember 7's table correctly, is 2, a regular 2. So now, great, we found our 13 over 7. It's just this number. So the trick is to keep making partitions, keep making these divisions, these groups of 7 between whole numbers, right? Because 1 was a whole number, 2 is a whole number. We made 7 groups or divisions in them. So now it's actually time to delve into negative numbers, negative fractions. So let's have a look at that. So what if they told us to represent negative 8 over 3. So since it's negative, it's to the left of 0. So let's mark our 0 here. So let's make now, look at the denominator. We have to make 3 groups between whole numbers, between wholes. So when I say 3 groups, I mean first group is, since we are going to the left side, this is negative 1 over 3 instead of positive, because we are not going to the right side, we're going to the left side. If we go to the left side, we have negative numbers. Before 0 are negative numbers. So negative 1 over 3, negative 2 over 3. The process is the same. Negative 3 over 3 is negative 1. Negative 4 over 3. Negative 5 over 3. Negative 6 over 3 is, if you remember your table of 3, is negative 2. Then negative 7 over 3 and negative 8 over 3. And negative 9 over 3, if you remember your tables again, is negative 3. the whole number. So this is your negative 8 over 3. That's what we wanted to show, right? So you follow the same procedure, but instead of basically increasing your numbers, you are decreasing your numbers, because negative 2 is less than negative 1, and I'll discuss this concept further on. So you're just reversing direction. So you went from 1 over 3, 2 over 3 to say 1. Here you're going in the opposite direction. So for us, going rightwards was increasing by 1. Here going leftward is decreasing by 1. So negative 1 over 3, negative 2 over 3, negative 3 over 3, negative 4. So you essentially increase the non-negative part of the numerator by 1. So let's look at one last example of negative fractions, and then we'll discuss something else. So now they want us to show or represent negative 13 over 4. So you start with 0 again, because now we have to go, since it's negative, we have to go leftwards. And how many groups will you make between two whole numbers? 4 groups, because we have a denominator of 4. So when you start, you have first group negative 1 over 4, second group negative 2 over 4, negative 3 over 4, negative 4 over 4 is negative 1, the integer, and then you have negative 5 over 4, negative 6 over 4, negative 7 over 4, negative 8 over 4, which is just negative 2. Then you have negative 9 over 4, negative 10 over 4, negative 11 over 4, and negative 12 over 4, which is negative 3. And then you have negative 13 over 4, and that's what you wanted to show. So this is your negative 13 over 4 on the number line. So I hope you got the general approach of how to deal with questions like these. Now let's discuss something else. So now we are going to discuss how to compare numbers. How to compare numbers. So that includes greater than, less than, and equal to, basically. These are our comparison operators, right? So comparing positive numbers is very easy. So what you do, say if you have to compare 4 and 27, this is very easy, right? 4 is less than 27, or 27 is greater than 4. So you always, this sign opens towards the greatest number. I like to think about this sign as this way, the greater than sign, towards the greatest number. So since 27 is greater than 4, we are opening this sign in the direction of 27. But because if we had 11 and say 10, and 11 is obviously greater than 10, so then this sign will open towards 11. I hope you know these basics. Now let's try to tackle some negative numbers, negative integers specifically. So we have a negative 3, and we have to compare this with, say, something like 6. Well, it's a known fact that positive numbers are always greater than negative numbers. So negative 3 is less than 6. 6 is greater, so the sign opens in the towards 6. Positive numbers, I'll write this, positive numbers are always greater than negative numbers. This is a rule actually. So It will be good if you learn this or just understand this. Now, how do we compare to negatives? So say you have a negative 5 and say something like negative 7. So for this, I like to use this trick. So say you have the number line now. Call this 0. This is negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 4, negative 5, negative 6, and negative 7. So notice that between 5 and negative 5 and negative 7, negative 5 is closer to 0, right? So negative 5 is closer to 0 than negative 7, which is still farther from 0. So whatever number, this is another rule, whatever number is closest to 0, whatever negative number is closest to 0, it is the greater number. It is the greater number. So in our case, negative 5 was more close to 0 than negative 7. That's why negative 5 is greater than negative 7. And that holds true for if you have anything. So say if you have negative 1 and you're comparing that with say a very negative number, say negative 666. But if you compare, negative 666 would be very off somewhere, like I'm not even drawing the number line. So now notice that negative 1 is the closest number to 0. So that's why negative 1 is greater than negative 666, because it's way closer to 0 than this other number that is way far off. So negative 1 is the greatest negative number, while positive 1 is the greatest is the smallest positive number. So there's a contradiction between these two, and I hope you remember this, because this is really going to be useful for us. So if you have to compare two negative numbers, think about which number is closest to 0. Number that's closest to 0 will always be greater. So this is another rule, and it will be great if you learn this, just like you learned this. So now if you have to compare two fractions, so 2 by 3 in comparison to say something like 1 by 2, how do you compare these fractions now? So there is a trick for this. So you just write these as it is, and then what you do is take the denominator of this fraction and then multiply it with the numerator of this fraction. So you have 2 into 2, and on the other side you take the denominator of this fraction and multiply with the numerator of this other fraction. So you have 1 into 3, and then compare these two. So here you have 4 and here you have 3. Which is greater? 4, naturally, right? So that's why 2 over 3 is greater than half. And when you're doing this, always write each of these things underneath another. So that's why I wrote 2 over 3 underneath 2 over 3, and then did this multiplication with the denominator of the second fraction underneath that thing. So keeping the same numerator as the fraction, multiply by the denominator of the second fraction, which is 2, and here numerator as it is times the denominator of this other fraction. So you have 4 and 3. 4 represents 2 over 3 and 3 represents half. So when you compare them, 4 is greater than 3. That's the advantage of writing underneath each other. 2 over 3 is greater than 1 over 2. That's reflexive. This is a faster alternative, faster way than calculating LCMs. And I'm sure you know what those are. These are LCMs are pretty elementary. So this is a faster way than calculating LCMs. Trust me. Let's do another quick example with positive fractions. So say you have 3 over 7 and something like 12 over 13 now, and you have to compare. So write this as it is, 3 over 7 and 12 over 13. Now keeping 3 intact, multiply by the denominator of 12 over 13. And what's the denominator? It's 13. And on the other side you keep 12 intact, multiplied by the denominator of this other fraction. So basically you cross multiply like this. So 13 cross multiplied with 3, 7 cross multiplied with this 12. So 12 times 7. So this becomes 13 3s are 39. This becomes 7 12s are 84. So, and which is greater now? 84 naturally. So 12 over 3 is greater than 3 over 7, or 3 over 7 is less than 12 over 3. So now let's try to compare negative fractions. So say if you have something like negative 14 over, I don't know, 3 compared with something like negative 5 over 8, for example. So what you do, you again do the same things. So negative 14 over 3, negative 5 over 8. So you cross multiply 14 times 8 with a negative sign, and 5 times 3 with a negative sign. So you go like this and like this. Fourteen eights are 112 but with a negative sign, and 5 times 3 is 15 but with a negative sign. Now you compare these negative numbers, and what did I tell you about comparing negatives? One which is closer to 0 is greater, and which is closer to 0 in both of these. Negative 15, right? Because if you draw the number line, you'll have 0, negative 1, negative 2, and then you have negative 15, and then after a long time you'll have negative 112. So negative 15 is naturally closer to 0 than negative 112, so that is greater. And you know, switching back, going back, that's the advantage of writing underneath the original problem. We have negative 14 by 3 is less than negative 5 by 8. So that's how you compare negatives. You follow the exact same steps of cross multiplication, but when you're comparing the cross multiplied numerators, you treat them like comparing negatives, and I explained you how to compare negatives. The one which is closer to 0 is the greater. The negative which is closer to 0 in a group of negative numbers is the greater number. Let's do another quick example. So what if we have something like negative 5 over 2 compared to something like negative 37 over 9. So again, don't worry, don't look at the numbers and get scared. You just follow the same steps that I told you. So cross multiply. So 9 gets multiplied with 5. This 2 gets multiplied with this 37. And we have to take the negative into consideration as well. So we have negative 5 times 9 but with a negative. And we have 37 times 2 but with the negative. So 9 times 5 is 45 but with a negative. 37 times 2 is 74, but with a negative, and which is greater now. So it's time to compare negatives. And what did I tell you about comparing negatives? One which is closer to 0 is greater. So notice that if you mentally draw a number line, negative 45 is closer to 0 than negative 74. So that's why that's greater than negative 74. So retracing our steps, we have negative 5 over 2 is being greater than negative 37 over 9. So I hope I'm clear when I try to explain how to compare negative fractions. And since when we talk about different categories of numbers, and I introduced this new category of numbers called integers, a question is bound to arise: how will we, what's the use of categorizing numbers in such a way? If we have categories of numbers, we must be able to do operations on them, right? So that's why I want to talk to you about basic operations like addition and subtraction just for now. Division and multiplication probably we can talk in another video. So if you have two numbers, adding positive integers is easy. So 7 plus 5 is 12. You know this. These are the basics. So what if you have negative 6 plus negative 2? So when you open this bracket, you have negative 6, and this positive times this negative is going to be a negative. That's a rule. 2, and that is going to be, if you have same signs, you add, and then you put the sign of the greater number, which is negative. And what if you have a positive and a negative together? So if you have something like 9, negative 9 plus 15. So since you have different signs, you have to subtract. So 15 minus 9 is 6, and then you put the sign of the greater number. And the greater number here is 15, so a positive 6 is the answer. Now if you had it the other way around, negative 15 plus 9, if you have different signs, I'll write the rule. If you have different signs, then subtract. If you have same signs, then add, and put the sign of the greater number on the final answer, on the final answer. So when you do this, you have different signs, so you subtract. So 15 minus 9, let's just forget the signs. 15 minus 9 is 6, but which is the greater number? Forget the signs now. 15, just the numeric value of 15 is greater than 9. That's why you put a negative. Now don't compare which is closer to 0 and which is not. Just look at the numeric values for putting the sign. So 15 is greater than 9, right? Numerically speaking, just in terms of quantities, 15 oranges are more than 9 oranges, right? So that's why, and what sign is there attached with this 15? Negative. So that's why you put a negative sign on the result. And when you have basically adding stuff with the same sign, like in this case negative 6 and negative 2, so I said same signs, then you add. So 6 plus 2, 8, and then you put the sign of the greater number. Here the greater number is 6, numerically speaking. The sign of 6 is negative, so you put negative 8. That's how addition works. And say when we talk about subtraction now, so if you have -5 subtracted from +2, say for example, this would become -5, negative and positive is -2. So and then you look if they have same signs. Yes, they do have same signs, negative. So you add them. So 5 plus 2 is 7, and then put the sign of the greater number. The greater number numerically is 5. It has a negative sign, so you put a negative here. So subtraction is just that extra step of opening the bracket and changing the signs. Because if you had something like -11 and -11 minus -9, this would become -11 minus, and a minus will become a plus. That's another rule. And now notice that they have different signs, so you're going to subtract. So 11 minus 9 is 2, and put the sign of the greater number. What's the greater number? 11, right? So you put the sign of 11, which is negative. So you have -2 as the final answer. And that's exactly what you do for all other examples when you're subtracting. You just open the bracket, negative and a negative. So negative and negative will make a positive. So if you have something like negative and a negative some number here, that will make a positive number. If you have something like positive and a negative, that will make a negative. If you have something like negative and a positive, that will make a negative. If you have something like positive and a positive, that will again obviously be a positive. So I could have talked about these in my explanation of multiplication, but these are useful when you are opening brackets like this, because negative negative make a positive. That's what we learned first. So that's why this is useful. I hope you enjoyed this explanation, guys. If you have any doubts, you can reach me in the comment section. And all the best. That's it for this video. But before going, please like, share and subscribe to my channel. Please try to share my videos as much as possible, because I'm trying to help you people out during this COVID-19 crisis. And moreover, stay home, stay safe, have a great day. Peace out.